All right. What I would love to do this week is to focus in on the 1% power brokers of information systems. So these are the news channels, these are the behind the scenes shenanigans where people are inserting things into the news streams. Because I'm getting a sense that we were moving out of the tunnel vision. And when I feel into the collective, it's like there's pockets of tunnel visions, which creates people pulling against each other instead of going in the same direction. So what I'd like to do is to see if we can't direct our light to soften up the screaming and yelling of the two extremes so that the middle ground people have more of a voice. And that is all about the information flow systems. If I were to feel into that and just see what you get, we're just going to relax into this idea of dialogue. Because that's the thing that's inherent, is dialogue. And really hearing the other person. So we're going to begin by just really hearing ourselves. As it always starts at home first. And of course, the most important dialogue that we have is the dialogue with our human aspect and our divine aspect. Actually, I want to correct that. That was not correct. The most important dialogue that we have is what we have with our human aspect. And then the human aspect listens. It's a subtle difference, but it makes a huge difference in the long run. So let's just open up the dialogue between ourself, small s, and self, capital S. And we pay attention to divine light, which is equally everywhere present. Interesting. And just as we're paying attention to that, I have souls already coming in. So say welcome. Because they're wanting to actually ride this wave of having the dialogue between self and human self. Good. You feeling it? You feel the expansion? Okay. And let's go ahead and let our brain synapses disconnect and reconnect so that we can recalibrate with the group as it grows. Interesting. Normally we create our sphere and then invite, but this is obviously on the heart and soul of many. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to just ask for right now, we're going to work with those who are here. And the invitation is always open to those who can vibrate into it. I take that back too. We're just going to keep it open, but keep dialoguing between yourself and self. And pay attention to the sensations and allow your human aspect to become aware of those souls that are coming in to join us. Interesting. I know that my soul group were planted all across the globe. So this is getting multiplied and magnified out. Allowing brain synapses to disconnect and reconnect in new ways. All you have to do is let go and say yes to the infinite intelligence, omniscient wisdom, and omnipotent unconditional love of divine light. It's equally everywhere present. It's flowing through us. We're made of it. We co-create with it. It's all around us. Our divine soul is pure consciousness, so it resides and what is commonly known as the Akashic Records. But even the Akashic Records is really a little too small of a concept. It is this part of us that is consciously aware of our connection to everything that ever was, is, and will be, and can access any kind of information, just directing the attention in that and opening up and receiving the flow of information. No, interesting shift with that. So let the brain synapses disconnect and reconnect. And now we're going to all together, individually and collectively, as individual notes in a harmonic symphony, each in our own way, direct this flow of divine light up through our divine heart and human heart, and let it fill all aspects of our being. Now, since we're already made of it, how can we be filled up with it? Well, it's a question of filling up our human consciousness, and let that filter out into our physical body, our mental body, our emotional body, our heart bodies, our soul bodies. These are all the different dimensions of who we are in this human experience. Our psychic bodies, our light bodies. Our body is made of light, but I'm speaking of that dimension of ourselves that is just pure light. So our intention is to foster and transmit vibrations of divine light with the intention of opening up meaningful dialogue. Starting first with self and self, and then transmitting it out. Inherent in meaningful dialogue is the courage to speak your perceptions, knowing that perceptions are fluid. They're only fixed when we hold them fixed. But they're in constant state of growth. So as they're growing, somebody who seems very dogmatic and small-minded, it's because they're using their divine light to keep it fixed. But it's fluid, return, fluid, return, fluid, return. So it's always reforming, reforming, reforming in that same form. It's much easier to let our perceptions be fluid. So it's the courage to speak our perceptions and the courage to hear perceptions that are different than ours. And the wisdom to understand that all of these perceptions that come together are what make up the greater whole. We are wired in the human experience to have selective perception. That means we see what we want to see. We see what we learn to see. Allow the brain synapses to disconnect and reconnect. And always allow yourself to recalibrate. This is why you can have a car accident on the corner, and the mother is going to see someone's son hurt or daughter hurt. A doctor is going to see the blood and want to fix the body. A lawyer is going to see who's at fault. A police is going to get in and try to figure it out. And a little kid just sees, wow, it was really cool. Things just smashed together. It was going every which way. And they're all correct from their point of view. So let's first allow ourselves to let go of our perceptions. And allow those perceptions which no longer serve us for our highest good and the highest good of all to be transformed into illumination. Now feel that ripple through you and feel it rippling out from you and feel it joining the group and rippling out even further across humankind. And now what we're going to do is do the fourth step of the basic activation. And that's where we, with our breath, we're allowing light to flow into our heart, our human heart, and then we send it to the far reaches of the known universe and beyond. What we're going to do is send it to the far reaches of human collective consciousness and beyond, and then let divine light and the love flow. Okay, so the intention is to allow the entire collective consciousness to expand in understanding the value and having the courage of dialogue. That's the courage to speak the truth and the courage to hear someone else's truth and create the space for the other one to feel safe. And trust yourself that you can feel safe with yourself also. So inhale. Hold that light in your heart. Exhale. Divine light's coming from infinity through your divine soul knowing up through your divine heart and human heart. Inhale. Hold it in your human heart and exhale. And then on this third one, we're going to send it out through our human heart, but also divine soul, divine soul. Let your divine soul do the work. Inhale. Send it. Okay, good. Now we're going to refine this a bit with our breath. You inhale through your nose and you exhale through your nose. And then on the third, when you inhale and you hold it, I want you to almost, it's the only time you do a little bit of a push. It's like a out through the nose. It kind of creates like a, if you've seen an atomic blast. So it goes out almost like a donut. Okay? Good. All right. So from the human point of view, just pay attention to your breathing and observe your divine soul doing the work collectively, individually and collectively. We're doing this. Inhale. Hold it in your heart. Exhale. Inhale. Hold it in your heart. Exhale. Inhale. Push. And just relax into the vibrations. This is all about communication and unconditional love. Allowing the brain synapses to disconnect and reconnect, paying attention to how you feel this in your physical body. This is it's like the telephone between you, the divine soul of you, the divine you, and the human aspect of you. Huh? Now, when we talk about safety, let's take a moment. We're going to go back and do the second step of the basic activation, and this is when we send our love to the earth. So we're doing this individually and collectively, but also knowing that we are automatically transmitting this into the collective consciousness of humankind. Right? So, allora, relaxing into yourself, relaxing into yourself. That's capital S. Relaxing into the memories and the recognition of the divine of you. Divine light is flowing from infinity, from the source, the infinite source within, through your divine soul, knowing your divine soul is directing it up through your divine heart and your human heart. And then with as much gratitude as you have, send your love to the earth, saying thank you. Thank you for the food. Thank you for the water. Thank you for the air. Thank you for the gravity. Let it touch all the living things within and on the earth. Thank you so much for allowing me to be in this symbiotic relationship with all there is here on earth and in earth. And feel the love in a two-way flow. Just relax into it. When we feel connected to the earth, we automatically feel connected to all there is. It's subconscious, it's how we're wired. The meridians in our bodies are in syntonia, in synchronicity with the meridians of earth. So now let's just transmit this thought. We're going to do it from the human heart to human hearts, divine hearts to divine hearts, and divine souls to divine souls. You can't do it from here. I'm just telling you that so that you can kind of observe the sensations in your body. And if kind of a concept comes to you, don't lock into just that. Just know it's something that your divine soul is communicating to your human aspect so that your human aspect can say yes and participate. Because you see, divine light flows where your attention goes, manifests where your intention stays focused, and it moves from the invisible realm to the visible realm through your thoughts. Because it's conscious. So just rest in that for a moment. And each in our own way, we're going to transmit the collective consciousness the desire to communicate with the divine within. On deeper levels. So for some, it will be for the first time. For others, it'll be letting go of what they thought they knew, and they thought maybe they were the big kahuna in their spiritual world, to let go and go deeper. And as these vibrations are being transmitted through you and with each other, just also remember to pay attention to your physical being. Brain synapses, if you feel your throat closing, open up. That's you finding your voice in your chest area. That's you allowing transformations of your old emotional worlds that held you back from speaking your truth. And let's transmit unconditional love to the fear of speaking your truth. And let that fear be transformed first into peace, a deep inner peace, so that the courage to speak up rises up from within. Okay, so for that courage and deep inner peace, let's repeat that grounding of recognizing the connection to the earth. So individually and collectively, we're showing humankind how to be aware of the fact that they're on the planet in a symbiotic relationship with the planet and with each other. This is really key to start dissolving some of that us versus them. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do it individually and collectively, showing the rest of humankind how. Dropping as deep as we can into the acknowledgement of the divinity of our being. Divine light, which is coming from the source, infinite intelligence that knows all things, omniscient wisdom that knows how to manage all things for the highest good of all, and omnipotent, all-powerful, unconditional love that can, flowing through us, being directed up through our divine heart, our human heart, and with gratitude to the earth and all living things in and on the earth. Thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you for allowing all of us and me to have this human experience. Thank you. Thank you for the water. Thank you for the air that I breathe. Thank you for the food that I eat. Thank you for the plant kingdom. Thank you for the animal kingdom. Thank you so much. I am so grateful. Thank you. And teach me how I can live in deeper synchronicity with you and all living things. I release any thoughts and ideas that have kept me from this deep knowing, and I let them be transformed first into a deep inner peace and then into illumination, each in our own way. I allow my brain synapses to disconnect and reconnect in new ways. This tightness that I might be feeling in my head, we're transmitting this to the collective. This tightness that you might be feeling in your head is you shifting and growing into deeper levels of unconditional love. Let go and let love flow. Let it flow from the earth. Let it flow through the food that you eat. Let it flow through the water that you drink. Let it flow through the air that you breathe. Let it flow through you so that you can express your love fully and freely, joyfully, joyously, unlimited and uninhibited, with infinite patience with yourself and with others. So that if they don't understand right away, you try to discover their language. You discover where they're coming from. You discover what their point of view is. The more you understand the other's point of view, then the easier it is to explain your point of view and share your point of view in a language that will be heard. Listen first and then speak. Or speak first and then listen. There's no one right or wrong way. Each circumstance will carry its own vibration, its own exchange, its own emotional weight. Trust yourself, trust the process. So when we think about trust, let's just let go for a moment, just for one moment, stop and relax into yourself. And ask yourself, do I trust that as I walk, my feet touch the ground? That would be a yes. So if transmitting to the collective consciousness, if you find yourself distrusting, stand up, plant your feet and feel the gravity of Mother Earth pulling at you. You can trust that and you can trust yourself. And we're transmitting to the collective consciousness the courage to listen to the love of you, the courage to look within and discover the love of you on deeper levels. the courage to say, to the best of your ability, as a kind of mantra, as a reminder, the divine in me sees and greets the divine in you. The divine in you sees and greets the divine in me. Even if the human aspect is not woke enough to see the divine in you, you see the divine in them, and know that the divine in them is seeing the divine in you. And to reinforce this, I'd like for us all now to transmit from a divine soul to divine soul level. Pay attention to how this grids out. The sacred geometry is really exquisite right now. And see how that is being transmitted to all divine souls here on the planet, and then that is being sent up to the human aspect. Infinite intelligence, omniscient wisdom, and omnipotent, all-powerful, unconditional love. Allowing the brain synapses of each of us as transmitters to disconnect and reconnect. Know that we're doing it some for ourselves and some for the collective. The wonderful thing about letting go and letting the brain pathways disconnect and find new pathways is we certainly can't imagine what it would be like from a human ego intellect point of view. So it's the one thing that our divine soul has got full control over. If you let go and allow it. Good. 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 Okay. Now we're going to go from human heart to human heart and divine heart, transmitting into the collective. Oh, that is so pretty. If you feel even a little dizzy up here, that's just how pretty it is. Always allowing the brain synapses to disconnect and reconnect in new ways. Letting the light do the work, letting our divine soul aspects work together, and letting our human aspects learn in the process. It's all about remembering and learning this co-creation process here on planet Earth. And now we're going to transmit to the collective. This is from divine soul to divine soul, knowing that it's also going to be directed up to the human aspect. Divine heart to divine heart, human heart to human heart. So this is going to happen on 3 levels. Relax into that. We're going to teach the collective to listen within for when it's getting pieces of news information. Ask yourself, on every piece of news, what is the deeper truth? What is the deeper truth? Apart from the opinion, what is the deeper fact? And then send light through it with the intention of for the highest good of all. All things are in a constant state of change. Nothing is fixed. A fact is just a moment in time of where elements have come together to create that one small event. But it is in constant state of change. Nothing is fixed. So you take any given fact and then you send light through it so that it can transform and transmute into the highest good of all. And you know that any news that comes to you, you are reading one perception. You're reading about one perception. That perception does not have to be yours. You ask within, how do I let this engage with me? And what is the right action in response? Allowing our brain synapses to disconnect and reconnect in new pathways. Good. And now collect individually and collectively, and all of those souls that have also been able to vibrate in. We're going to transmit this out to the collective and send it up to the 1% power brokers of the news information. The thought of open communication. Be fearless in stating a fact. Open communication, open dialogue. Integrity. Love. Respect. I'm getting a sense that that whole business module of the news outlet can shift and change so that it's the people that actually sustain and support it and not the advertisers. So I'm not sure how that would happen, but I am getting that information. So let's just let's transmit that to the collective to let the business module of the news sources shift and change to where it is the people that support and sustain it, because it treats us with respect and integrity, knowing that we can handle the truth. Small t, we can handle the facts because we will have the courage to dialogue. This is an evolutionary, this is not revolution, this is an evolutionary ascension cycle within the news. For right now, we're sending it to the top 1% so that they can wake up to that and they can turn it into the business module. So that they don't hang on to the old way of doing things, because it's just getting denser and denser and denser as the collective is trying to expand. And now on this, just observe, let your divine soul work. This is connected to every single person's divine soul mission in some way, shape, or form, even if not directly, indirectly, because good communication is key. And my pod around the world is transmitting and sustaining and holding your vibrations, magnifying them for the highest good of all. Good. This is good. This is really going out in a balanced way. Nice. It's so pretty. Brain synapses, remember to always let the brain synapses disconnect and reconnect in new ways. Malia, you don't need to do that. I was doing that for the collective. Yours was already doing it. Okay. And now we're going to come back together. We're going to transmit one last thought to the collective, but we're also going to implement it in our own individual lives. One small, concrete step. Stop. Take a look within. What do you want to communicate to the first person that you see? Let love flow and find the courage to communicate. And also find the courage to discover something new that you did not know before about someone who is close to you. Take what they say with no judgment. Just take it as new information about their perception and send them love and thank them for sharing. And so it is. Amen.